amazing human beings coming together for one sole purpose to talk about the power of surrender, the power that can happen in your life when you actually step out and let God step in. You are a prime example of what surrender can do to turn one's life around. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about your background and how it's brought you to where you are today?
Okay. Raised here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So basically, you just want me to share my story, Lynn, and stuff like that background. Okay.
Yeah.
Raised in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Christian mother. Father's in a Spanish band named Soto Chicana here locally and throughout the United States. So yeah, so they were both there for me. It was how where do I start off at? I'm At the moment, I'm 43 years old. So I was born in 1981. Name's Jose. And yeah, so I went to school. I remember just like back in like the fifth grade. So back in fifth grade, I had older cousins. We got a big family. My father has about nine siblings as well as my mother here in Fort Wayne. So there's a lot of cousins. So I remember back when I was like in fifth grade, I was already influenced uh outside of my home by older cousins and peers and like that. So I already want to mimic them. At fifth grade, it was enticing. They were dressed in a certain way, different, and I wanted to do that. So by the time I was in sixth grade, I'm already mimicking them. My mom
Mhm.
tried to kind of keep us away. We're very family orientated. So as our Hispanic family, like we're cookouts, family. So you can't keep cousins and we're like I had cousins living with me. Like you just can't keep us apart. Basically, there's
Mhm.
no way around it. So, but I want to share.
And they were not living the ideal life that your mom would have wanted you to like start
Mm,
being a part of, especially at such a young age.
no, yeah, no. And this was so I was on 81. So let's think of like 90s. Like hip hop came, cocaine, crack throughout the whole United States as well here in Fort Wayne. So it wasn't a good era for anybody to grow up, especially young. I feel like those coming with not so much income. It could be minority or whatever the case, majority minority.
Mhm.
And that was my case. So
So
yeah,
you got into the lifestyle and you started making,
I
just
just
living the lifestyle.
yeah, sixth grade, I'm already like wearing gold chains and put my pant leg up and my hat a certain way, certain colors. And seventh grade, eighth grade, the same way. I had all F's in eighth grade. They told me to go to summer school. I didn't go. They passed me to ninth grade with all F's. I think I got about a credit and a half in ninth grade. I dropped out in 10th. And during this time, I'm already doing a lot of illegal stuff as a minor. Got incarcerated at 17 years old. They gave me 5 months or option to get my GED. I turned 18 in there and I got my GED. So they let me out in 3 months. And
Mhm.
when I came out at 18, though, that's when I got introduced to cocaine and crack cocaine. So I went from like marijuana and all that to crack and cocaine and carrying a firearm. Well, I started to carry a firearm or be in possession of one all the time at my home around 14. So at 18, then I started really just needing it more, felt like I needed to protect myself or do other things whatsoever. And I did that from 18 to 26. And I told a couple cousins of mine, I was like, it's crazy uh how we thought like not having a 9 to 5, like that's all I did, like year after year. And I thought it was normal, so
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
like of the background, uh, a lot of our family like just incarcerated, from my aunts, just the cousins, my father, like it was very common and natural to go inside incarceration and come back out. It was a
It was
common
just
thing.
like part of the life.
It's part of
It's
life.
just part of the lifestyle.
We never talked about college at the dinner table, none of that. I just remember looking in the mirror in my 20s, like, imagining myself in handcuffs and looking how I'm supposed to hold myself stand. I would talk to my older cousins, like, how is it in there? How do I gotta act? Like, just be yourself. Hopefully, you'll know somebody from Fort Wayne. Like, it was no, I was already prepping myself up. Like, this is where I'm going. All my cousins go in and out, 3 years, 5 years, come back, and we just keep getting back in the streets and the gangs, just nonstop. Father,
Wow. And so it did happen to you. You did end up.
yeah. yeah, ended up, yeah. So what had happened there was the age of 26, I had caught a case. They let me out, they dismissed it, and about 6 months went by on that case, and I knew the federal was probably going to pick it up. Um, yeah, 6 months. 6 months went by. Around the 6 month, my grandma died, and my grandma raised me while my dad was in the band and truck player. So when she died, and I seen her down like at her deathbed, it hit me emotionally. As a grown man at 26, I didn't know I had those emotions, and I started shedding tears. I started crying. That was the closest thing other than my mother and dad that passed. That lived with me. I went to church as usual from a kid. I went to church, Catholic church. My mom converted to Christianity. She made us all go to church. You stay the night at the house, you're walking down the block and we're going to church. Hungover, it don't matter. From 14 on up, we went to church. After 18, I moved out and I continued to went to church as just religion. We prayed to the saints. Even though I was in the streets, I would still light up candles. I was like Catholic and praying to saints. Just I was still involved in the streets, but I had this some sort of Hispanic religion in me. And
It was more just routine or
yeah, it
pattern
was
or
basically because I didn't
yeah,
have no true relationship with him,
yeah.
and I told myself I would never be a Christian. I believe in you, God, but I will never follow you because this is my life and this is what I want to do. And I want to die like this. This is my choice. I love this stuff that I was involved in. And 26 years old, grandma passed. I went to church as usual that Sunday. Really don't know what he said, but surrender, basically. You want to give your life to God, surrender. And my hand went up, and literally in my heart, it said, like, game over. And I was like, okay. So the pastor seen me, raised my hand. He talked to me, said, here, start at the book of John. I'm going to send somebody to go talk to you, read the Bible, this and that. They came over that Friday. I started reading the book of John. About 2 weeks later, he said, I'll come back a few weeks. 2 weeks, I'm outside my back porch reading it, and I started getting emotional again. The Jesus, his true love for me, he is the vine and all this. I'm like, why these emotions come? Maybe I'm not over my grandma. I don't know why this love and Jesus is getting to me. And I was like, I think I'm gonna give me a job. Like I think maybe I'm gonna try to do some right things. And in my demonic wisdom, I'm like, I'm gonna I was still out hustling. I caught a
Mhm.
case, but it was natural. You still do what you do. I was like, I'm gonna give it to my little cousins and let them do all the work. Just give me like a cut. I'm gonna sit back because I'm about to try to be a godly man. I'm just fresh to it. And literally 4 weeks went by, and I went to the gym to work out, and I came out, and the federal and government came, and they said,
Wow.
you're facing 10 to life. And I went to the
Wow.
jail right there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And yeah, I see Marilyn put in here, game over. And the crazy thing is, Marilyn, like that's actually the name of your chapter, game
Mhm.
over, because
Yeah.
it when God spoke to you. So that surrender moment, you are giving yourself, like, were you even like aware that you were making this choice, or was it like you were chosen?
I wasn't aware. I didn't plan on giving my life to God. Never have. Always went to church, and I don't even recall nothing they said over since I was 10.
Mhm.
Nothing stuck. But that moment, and what is so crazy, and I need to revisit this with Esther. She told me this. She said the pastor had called her, the pastor of that church, a young pastor named Brendan, I believe, and he said he felt heavy to do an altar call that day. And for some reason, and I want to talk to him in person about this, but I truly believe it because everything God has done in my life, like I'm a
Mhm.
witness no matter what. He said his wife felt strongly urgently to get behind the pew where I was at, not knowing I was going to be the one to be saved. And she went over there and she started praying for like that section and supposedly me. And he was like, I'm going to do an altar call. I guess usually they do it periodically, but he was like, in his heart, he wanted to do an altar call that day. And I was the one that gave my life to God that day. But I didn't go in there
Wow.
intentionally like giving my life to God or nothing. It just something hit, and I know Holy Spirit or God
Mhm.
moment, and that it just went up. And I don't even me thinking back to it, I didn't even it was so like I would say supernatural because I wasn't like, that's me. Like it wasn't like even a decision like I want to go, I want to do it. It was just like my hand just went up and like
Yeah.
it's like it was over.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I almost envision like God just grabbing you and being like, "This
Yeah.
is the one.
Yeah.
I'm picking him today." You know?
Yep.
Wow. And so all of this happens. You find yourself in prison for all of this length of time. You know, what was your thinking while you were in there? Like, you're now feeling emotion, you're having all of this go on, but now you're in there. So how was that? Were you like, why God? Like, why do this to me now? Or what was it?
It was so when I got to the county jail, about 2 weeks went by. I picked up the book of John. I was like, let me pick up where I left off at home, chapter 10 or 15. And that's when the true transformation just started taking place immediately. After 3 months, I got baptized. I start getting, he just put the mirror in my face, the Bible, the word. Here, you're a dirty hustler. You want to clean yourself up? I start cleaning myself up with the word. I was so consumed with his word and not spending eternity in hell because I believe in that place, and that he drew me out. You know what I mean? So I'm facing 10 to life, probably minimum 10, they said, years. And people are like, you going home this weekend? Like, because I'm in the county jail. I was like, no. He was like, well, why are you so like glowing and all this? And I just start sharing what happened. I literally got saved from the pit, from like fire. I'm thankful, no matter if I'm facing 10 or anything. So he just started transforming me there. Before you know it, I'm so bold. I got 50 men in there on dinner time. I'll say prayer circle, real life, whoever wants to come pray. And I'm leading the prayer group. I'm running the
Wow.
Bible studies. Like I'm just completely being transformed in 11 months in the county jail here, and then the other 3 years in Morgantown federal prison, and Bible study every day, all training and physical working out. Like I was just, and during that, about my first or second year, then I started feeling a lot of things with my children's mother. She had left me, this different situation. So it wasn't like rainbows or nothing, but he held me through, he picked me up, and he strengthened me when I was weak. But it was all training ground. It was definitely like I tell my children's mother, I would do it all over again, even for my little kids crying and visit. It was a lot of hard times, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just as the Christian walk should be, it's narrow and difficult, but that's the way that leads to life.
I because you exude the light, you feel it come through you, and that's why I enjoy like listening to you share with us. Now you have turned this into, and that's why I said Blue Lion. Like
Okay.
when I tell people, like you can literally take these little whispers that God gives you and do something because of that pain or because of that experience. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing there with the Blue Line, because I support what you're doing and I think others need to hear it.
Okay, so I'll be launching it soon. It's been a lifestyle of mine since prison. And when I was in prison, I was like, how can I relate myself to people? How can I express myself to people? So that's when I start learning the word, like giving a word for the day. So when I came home, I was like, how can I share this with people? And so spiritually, I've been transformed in there, and felt like a king, And then I started working out, and I was like, wow, now I felt even more like a king, like physically I feel good. So when I came home, I'm starting to drive a truck, got my CDLs and all that, and that's when Blue Line came into mind. Like, how can I express myself and motivate, encourage others? So what I do with Blue Line is a fitness brand, apparel line, and I use physical training as like a bridge to draw them in to get the spiritual training. So that's the
Mhm.
whole key what I do out here with young men or anybody, just sharing that about Blue Line. And the goal is to inspire others, to get other athletes to share their story. And first is seeking the kingdom. The spiritual side of Blue Line has to come first. Seek first the kingdom of God first. Because what will it profit a man if he gain the whole world and he lose his soul? So if you got a six-pack chest, you got all the money, and you lose your soul at the end, it's all for nothing. Game over.
Wow.
Like, no, don't make
Wow,
so
I love that. Thank
definitely,
you.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks so much for sharing with us, joining us.
It's a blessing.
Yep, like I said, Jose is one of the kings in the upcoming release of Surrender to Rise that we will be announcing a pre-order date here shortly. We're in final edit, and hopefully we'll see you in May in Texas also. And just thank you for sharing with us and spending your time with us today. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Atlanta. God bless you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank
Uh-huh.
you.